Did you know that the average person produces 2,072 pounds of trash every year? That's 939.8 kilos. And out of that 2,072 pounds of rubbish, only 710 are recycled. That means that each person puts 1,361 pounds of trash on landfill heaps every year. Just to put that into perspective, that's 617 kilos. Or if you're old school, 97 stone. Hi you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Alicia and this is Scribbles by Alicia. Today we are going to be talking about something that is very close to my heart and something that I think everyone should be doing. So today I'm going to be sharing with you all of my top tips on how to live a greener lifestyle and how to reduce your waste. The first thing you can do if you want to be a friend to the environment is take your foil and cling film from your kitchen and swap it out for beeswax paper. Beeswax paper is an incredible invention. Like cling film and foil, you can reuse it over and over again. It's basically just parchment paper and it's got a coat of wax on it so that when you mold it with your hands, it heats up the wax and you can mold it to the top of whatever bowl or food plate that you're trying to cover. The second thing you can do in order to help the environment is ditch plastic water bottles. So these are my two metal water bottles. They hold 500 mils each. One of the things I love about them is that I know exactly how much water I've had each day. Also, they're actually quite lightweight and they act as a thermos, so I can actually put a cup of tea or coffee in here if I want to. You can get these online. Lots of shops on the high street are rolling these out now. I actually got this one reduced and I love it. And one of the best things is if you're out and about and you're running low on water, you can just ask a local coffee shop to fill it up for you and you'll save loads of money. Did you know that there is a 280,000% markup on bottled water over tap water, and it is the exact same water? So all you're really paying for is a plastic bottle that's going to end up in the waste later anyway. So go grab yourself one of these. It is so worth it. You can also get them in 250 mils, 500 mils, 750 mils, and you can get litre ones as well. I personally like the 500 because it's not too heavy when it's full, and also it holds enough water for me to stay hydrated throughout the day. The next healthy swap you can do for the environment is to get yourself a reusable coffee cup. I absolutely love these guys and I own 4 of them. So I have this one which is made of bamboo, which I got on my trip in Cornwall, which was absolutely amazing. We spent a week surfing, it was incredible. This one I actually got as a present. It says, "Good morning, gorgeous." And the person who got it for me said that I needed to be told this every single morning. So I thought that was just absolutely adorable. They actually make fantastic presents. I also got another one as a present. As you can tell, I'm a bit of a recycling and environmental buff, so people definitely try and buy this stuff for me. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that I love Friends, the television program, so they got me this. And it basically has all of the quotes from Friends and it just makes me laugh so much. So my advice to you would be to maybe get a couple, start with one. I also have one in my car, which I love, and then the bamboo small ones I'll put in my uni bag, so that when I get a cup of coffee at university, I'm not using plastic paper cups. I think this one isn't particularly popular between people who try and do their bit for the environment, and I think that's because people don't actually know that there's a layer of polyethylene plastic on the inside of coffee cups. So they can be recycled, but they have to be recycled in a very specific way, and not every recycling centre will do that. But so many people are unaware of this that they're just dumping their paper coffee cups into recycling bins, and that's contaminating the entire bag, and then that bag won't go on to be recycled. The next thing you can swap out is plastic and paper straws and change them for metal, glass and bamboo. If you go on a night out, make sure to tell the bartender when he's making your drink that you don't want a straw. And also if you're going to a fancy cocktail bar, you can refuse the paper napkin as well. Paper napkins aren't always easily recyclable, despite what you may think. And that's because they're dyed in order to look pretty, but the dye stops them from being easily recycled and therefore they end up in trash heaps. I personally got metal straws. I know that some people really like the mouthfeel of the glass straws, but I was personally too worried that I'd break them. If you're worried about cleaning them, don't worry. They come with like a bristle holder that you can put down the straw. They're super easy to clean. And they normally come in a packet of about 7, 8 or 9. So you can put one in your gym bag, one in your car, one in your purse when you're going out on a night out, one in your handbag, one in your uni bag. And it'll just help you cut down on that plastic and make sure that you never use a plastic straw again. Speaking of easy swap outs, I want to move on to toothbrushes. Ditch your plastic toothbrushes and get yourself a bamboo toothbrush. These are absolutely amazing. I'm personally somebody who has struggled with cutting their gums when brushing their teeth, and the bamboo toothbrushes are so soft. They use different materials in their bristles to make them better for the environment, so I actually found my brushing experience with the bamboo toothbrush was so much better than with the plastic toothbrush. My biggest fear before I swapped was splinters, but that's not something you have to worry about. I have never experienced an issue, and I've been using bamboo toothbrushes now for about 3 years. This one is for you ladies out there. It is time to let go of sanitary towels and tampons. They are not good for you, they are not good for your body, and they are terrible for the environment. There are a few different options from what you can move on to. I personally use the menstrual cup, but if you think about all the women in the year, how many cycles they have every year and the number of tampons they must go through, that is an astronomical amount of waste. And if every woman was able to cut down and get themselves a menstrual cup or some period pants, we would make a huge difference to the environment. So jump online and get yourself a menstrual cup right now. If you take only one thing away from this video today, I want it to be this next tip. Stop using plastic bags for life and get yourself a canvas bag. I have so many of these. You can get them in so many different designs, and they are so much better for the environment than the plastic bags for life that supermarkets hand out. First off, lots of people don't even reuse them. They buy them, then they forget to take them to the shop, which is just completely pointless. And also they're made of thicker grade plastic, which is harder to break down and harder to recycle. Lastly, one of the big problems with plastic bags from supermarkets is people aren't actually aware that you can't just put them in your recycling bag at home. You actually need to take them back to the supermarket for them to do a special kind of recycling in order to make more bags for life. Now, I don't know anyone who's ever actually taken their bags back to the supermarket to be recycled. But I do think it's fair to say that one of the big issues here is that we forget. I actually did a blog post on this about, I want to say like a year and a half ago, and that was just tips on how you can remember to bring your bag for life with you. So here's some of the things you can do to help yourself remember those bags for life. If you bring a metal water bottle to work, why not put it in a canvas bag? This will keep your water bottle separate to everything in your bag, and if you were to have a surprise shopping trip, you will have a bag with you. I also keep 3 canvas bags in my car, one in my glove box, one in the back, and one in the boot. You might be wondering why I keep so many in my car and in lots of different places, but it's mainly down to the fact that I'm too lazy to go back out to the car to put the bag for life back in my car after I've unloaded the shopping, especially if the weather's all rainy and rubbish outside. So by keeping 3 in my car and 1 in my bag, I'm always guaranteed to have at least 1 with me. Another thing that I found people were really struggling with in terms of remembering to bring their bag for life with them on their way out of their house is because most people keep their plastic bags inside another huge plastic bag hanging on a hook in a cupboard or behind a door, and somewhere you're just not going to see it when you're leaving the house. So if you can, you could hang a canvas bag on your coat hook so that when you get your coat to go shopping, you can see your canvas bag, or you can just put them throughout your life, like I said, in your bag, in your car, if you cycle and have a little knapsack on there. And this will just ensure that you have a bag for life with you every single time. The next thing I have for you guys is to stop using tea bags. Tea bags often have lots of plastic in them, and the tea itself that's inside the tea bag can also sometimes have microplastics in it. So you can get tea bags like this, and you can also get tea bags like this. Now this I do not understand. This is my peppermint tea that I use for my bloating. I did talk a lot about this in my IBS video, which I will link above for you. And unfortunately, the best peppermint tea that I have found with peppermint oil that really soothes my bloating does come in this paper packet. I'm just gonna open this up to show you guys one more thing. Lots of tea bags, especially in America, have this piece of string on them, and this company uses paper on the end of the string. Now that to me makes perfect sense, and if you wanted to recycle this, you could. But I have also noticed that some companies are starting to use plastic holders at the end because the paper falls off too easy. Why? That's so stupid, and nobody needs a string that bad. If the string fell into your cup of tea, it's no big deal, you can fish it out with a spoon. So please, if you are buying from any tea companies that use plastic at the end of the string, please stop, because if you don't stop buying it, they're not going to be forced to change. And they have complete control over their packaging. Not only that, but if they're using a plastic tag instead of a paper tag, it's actually going to be costing them more money, which probably means that they're charging you more money for their tea bags. Loose tea, I think, actually tastes way better than bagged tea, and I think it's because the quality is higher because you can actually see the tea itself. In a tea bag, you'd have to cut it open in order to see what's inside it, so they can mask what they're putting inside their tea bags. This is one of the tea strainers, which I normally use if I'm making a couple of cups of tea, and if I'm just making 1 cup of tea, I will use this strainer, so I just pour the tea in there and pour the water over the top. These can be used 1,000 times over, and there's absolutely no waste, apart from the 1 bag that all of the loose tea will have come in. Another thing you can do to make the environment smile is you can change from bottle soaps to bar soaps. Bar soaps are often actually a lot cheaper, and there's a lot less packaging. Not only that, but a lot of people try and recycle these bottles, and they're not always recyclable. They also don't always have a lot of information on them. So here you can see that this bottle in particular is recyclable, but it doesn't mention anything about the bottle cap. There's a problem with these, and that is that they are absolutely filled with whatever was inside the bottle, so they're normally not recyclable. They're also normally made of more heavy duty plastics, which means that they're really hard to recycle. So when people are rinsing these out and putting the lids in the recycling, they are then contaminating that whole bag, and it won't go on to be recycled. So if you do have any of these left in your house, make sure to throw the plastic top in the rubbish as to not contaminate my recycling bag. Throughout this video so far, I've talked quite a lot about recycling contamination, and that is because there has been a huge increase in the amount of recycling that is being rejected because it is contaminated with waste. Between the years 2012 and 2016, there was an 84% increase in the amount of recycling that was being rejected from recycling centres because they've been contaminated with things like food, bottle tops that weren't recyclable, and plastic coffee cups. Now, I actually think the reason behind that 84% increase in rejected recycling actually came from the goodness of the nation's heart. When we were in 2012, recycling became a bigger deal and more people started paying attention to it. That meant that people in their homes started to realise that we really were putting this planet at strain, and so we worked harder in order to recycle what we could. However, I do think this means that when people didn't know if something was recyclable, they did throw it in the recycling bag in the hopes that it would be recyclable because they wanted to do good for the planet. However, because those items might not have been recyclable, they would have then contaminated that bag, and that entire bag of recycling will have actually been contaminated and put to one side. Where I live down in the New Forest, they've actually put out a new initiative, and they haven't labelled it as what I just said, but I'm pretty sure it's why. They've basically handed out a card with 6 items that you can recycle, and they are the basic of the basic, and I think that's because the government would rather have those 6 items recycled successfully than people trying to recycle everything in their household and ending up contaminating it and having all of this recycled waste rejected. So whilst you're waiting for that coffee cup to arrive that you've just ordered on Amazon that's made of bamboo, if you do use any paper coffee cups, please do not put them in the recycling unless they actually have a recycling sign on them. If you are buying plastic water bottles while you are waiting for that metal water bottle to arrive that I know you have just ordered, then you need to make sure that you read the bottle carefully. It might be that the plastic bottle is recyclable, in fact it's highly likely, but sometimes the label and sometimes the bottle top are not recyclable. So make sure that you read carefully and don't assume that another part of the bottle is recyclable if it's not mentioned. Take the label off if it specifies, and take the lid off and put the lid in the bin and put the plastic bottle in the recycling. One of the huge issues with recycling is food waste. So one of the things that we don't like to do once we've used our ready meal for one is clean out the container even though it's recyclable. Now I struggle to believe that people don't know this, but things like lasagna and pasta are not recyclable, and they are not something that are going to go into a recycling machine. So that means that you really need to rinse everything off, and when I say rinse everything off, I really mean clean it. So I had a glass jar yesterday and it had honey in it, and we had finished the honey. The honey was really sticky, and I just thought to myself, so many people will probably stick this straight in the glass waste, but that would not then be recycled. So all I did was run some warm water, use a little bit of fairy liquid, stick the lid on, shake it up, and then let it drain on the draining board. It was a clean glass. It took me 30 seconds, and now I know that that glass is going to be recycled instead of ending up on a wasteland. One of the other things that we seem to think are recyclable when they're not are nappies. Nappies themselves may be recyclable, and they may even say it on the box, but you have to think about what goes into nappies. I'm not going to spell it out for you. You guys know what goes into them. But if lasagna and pasta aren't recyclable, then that crap definitely is not. Pun intended. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not recycling yet, what the hell are you doing? It's 2020, get on it. You need to recycle, reduce, and reuse. And also jump on down to that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me if we can get that number to start going up. These changes are second nature to me now. It did take a while to form those habits, like remembering the canvas bag, remembering not to use plastic straws and to bring my own one with me, but I used that as a new habit and I definitely managed to succeed, and now it is just completely second nature to me. If you want to know how you can form healthy new habits, you can click on that video up there, which I will link for you guys. It's about New Year's resolutions, but it also is really helpful in terms of keeping new habits and how to make them stick. So thank you so much for tuning in with me. Hopefully we can all make this world a greener and a better place. It is our role to look after it and look after all of the creatures within it. So please do everything you can do in order to help. I hope you found this video helpful. I will see you next week, and have a green day.